Good evening and welcome to Wednesday. Doing another version of another volume of Wellness Wednesdays. You're lucky you don't see my head spinning. I've been diving into some things and really absorbing a tremendous amount of information. Interesting counterpoint. Last week I talked about the movie What the Hell, the documentary, and I will continue to recommend anybody take a look at that. It's probably worth your time. I'm going to throw a few things out there too. Now, What the Health is a documentary. It's on Netflix, and I'm going to put that up in the comments. Just because I know I personally had a heck of a time remembering the title for no good reason, because it's not a very complicated one. But What the Health, I'm going to continue to recommend you take the time to watch it. There's some great things that are very interesting on there. They talked about, for instance, the American Cancer Society. On their healthy eating page, they recommend that you actually eat canned meats and some processed meats. There's also in the documentary they talk about the World Health Organization study that says that the processed meats are actually a group 1 carcinogen, and they say it's comparable to plutonium or asbestos or cigarettes. I think that something that I've just learned and come to realize, you have to look at that documentary and some of the things on it that make a lot of sense. The societies for the support of some of those, sausage and bacon and processed meats that are known to be carcinogens and bad for you, are actually included on the American Cancer Society's Eat Healthy page. And the societies behind these products are also sponsors of the American Cancer Society. They raise money from them. So, you got to consider whether that has something to do with the recommendations, whether they are biased or colluding or what you want to call it. It's an interesting little mix of things to consider. Hey, Adam, good to see you. But I still say watch What the Hell. But one of the things that I'm processing right now too is not unlike politics, where if you watch, Fox News, you get one point of view. If you watch CNN, you get a totally different point of view. Or NBC, your point of view is very left. Fox's is right. The truth maybe is in the middle somewhere. I'm not sure. But you can't get an honest, full picture of the situation from watching any one thing. I think What the Health might be in that same boat. I think there's some things that should be considered. The movie was actually sponsored by pretty much vegans, and their point was to drive people into becoming a vegan, and they're kind of extreme, like a lot of the the political views anymore get very extreme. They're not, and for me that's good news, because there's not a chance on the planet that I'm going to go vegan. That can't happen. I'm not going to do it. what is interesting, I think you've got to look at is the balance. It's something that you'd be wise to start spending some time on. I am, and some of the reasons that I am is, I've got type 2 diabetes and probably brought that on myself by a combination of eating badly and not eating in the manner I should have for a lot of years. I went for decades with no breakfast, no lunch, big dinner, go to bed, pretty much every day. And I know that's probably not a real great thing to do to your body. I even spent some time getting lectured by somebody that was really smart on that, and wasn't at that time I was not feeling any ill effects, and probably felt I was indestructible. Went ahead and did what I wanted to do anyway. Now things have changed, and I'm very much working on lifestyle and lifestyle, exercise, and diet being the keys. And the other thing that I'm finding and learning is the deeper I get, the more nutrition figures into the plot. Nutrition, being what you put in your body is looks like it has more to do with everything than anything else. Genetics does some, and history does some, but I think that as I look hard, and then I'm looking hard for a health and wellness deal that I can be passionate about, I'm coming down to a few that to choose from that are going to be just exactly what I want. They're going to be something that I'm going to feel I need to talk to everybody I see about. Something I think I can help my friends to live a healthier life from. And hello, Craig, Colleen, and Charlene. Glad you could all be here. Colleen, really good to see you. It's been a long time. But that's my mission right now is health related. The point and what I found on that What the Health movie, and again I still recommend you see it, but there's also a Dr. Mike video on YouTube that I was just watching, and he puts out a heck of a counterpoint to, and he's not the that's the left and this is the right view. He's more of the middle of the road. But I thought that, hello Amanda, good to see you. I thought that it was something that should, in the course of getting into it, you should see. And I think, from my experience, I'm becoming convinced we should all get into it. Nutrition, diet, health, and wellness are things that, what good is anything without it? That's the point of our whole life. So I'm going to put that the YouTube from that Dr. Mike up in the comments, and I'll pin that one today. And that's one that I think you probably should. Hello, Rodrigo. Good to see you. That's one that I think you should probably check out too. The two of them, What the Health, the documentary, and then this Dr. Mike talks about, maybe the more moderate view, because I think a lot of, and listening to him, you do start to see where the documentary kind of took probably cherry-picked some studies and took some particular parts out of there and used that the other, that were all built to make their point, and probably over-dramatized to come up with funding. The middle of the road doesn't generate the big numbers as far as views, the big numbers as far as sponsors and money, and that's that's got to make you think that you're less likely to hear the middle of the road than you are the extremes. So that's that's very much a question of point of view, and yeah, grab attention, right, Amanda? They're looking to get your attention, and I know there are some things in that What the Health that are worthy of your attention. The Diabetes Association, the Cancer Society, the Susan B. Komen. Honestly, they all have sponsors that they shouldn't have. They should be looking a little harder, to find their money somewhere that doesn't conflict. Whether it changes anything or not, it doesn't look good. So there's a lot of, it just gets deeper and deeper, and I'm going to keep diving into it and keep learning. I think I did say before, and I'll say again that, my personal situation, I've got the type 2 diabetes, blood pressure issue, and I know what I'm on to for the health and wellness things are some things that have a history, and none of them can say, nor can I. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on Facebook. They don't say they can cure anything, but the two that I'm looking at both have some very impressive stories of some different things that they've been able to help people succeed with not just controlling, but actually turning around. And I think that's huge. Medicine, for the most part, doesn't do that. And medicine is primarily not about even curing the problem itself. Medicine's about curing the symptoms. And, that's wonderful and necessary. But I think that what I'm looking at gets into nutrition. And I think nutrition is where you actually maybe have a chance of curing the problem. I know diabetes, one of the issues that we have is people don't eat enough fiber. Fiber was meant to be a giant part of our diet, and in fact, it's a very minuscule part. There isn't fiber doesn't get consumed, and that's a great big deal. A lot of benefits to omega-3s that I'm continuing to read about that we don't get enough of. So there's a whole bunch of things that go into it, and I think a lot of it is also based around, personal preference and what you can deal with. I know one thing I'll say with the both of them I'm looking at, actually, diabetes, high blood pressure, high blood pressure, diabetes. I've heard some examples of fibromyalgia being something that the both of them have had tremendous success in particular cases with. Again, they can't say they can cure it, but in some cases they have been able to do better than just control it, and that's not something you find with the drugs in general. Some things that aren't in dispute with diabetes that I find totally amazing is we have an epidemic now. Diabetes is a great big bad deal. Approximately 350 million people with diabetes now, and I believe this is out of the documentary, but I believe these facts. 1 in 3 Medicare dollars is spent on diabetes, and 1 in 10 healthcare dollars are spent on diabetes, and that's a pretty big deal. I know in just my own research and learning to cure it myself, and here's how come the door opened, by the way. This is a door opener. He was locked out and didn't like that, I guess. But yeah, those are great big deals, and learning myself, how to control it. A lot of it does come down to certainly exercise is great, weight control is a big deal, and nutrition, and that's what my focus has been on. I have with the carotid blockage I have, I'm into a study that's I believe it's federally sponsored, where, and I mentioned this before, where they, in my case, the way I randomized, I don't get the carotid blockage. I didn't get the stent. I did not get the endarterectomy, where they cut it open and scrape the crud out. So I'm left curing that or controlling that with lifestyle and diet, and I kind of like that. I don't like the concept of getting my neck sliced open for sure. But in the study, I have a coach who's talking to me right now a couple times a month, and providing me with some incredible statistics, and we're going to track some things. And this is going to be really cool as I get into the health and wellness product, because I know that what I'm going to be focusing on there will be nutrition, and I think it's going to juggle some of these things around and make them really interesting to look at. But she sends me some reports with some cool little diagrams on them, and we get into the blood work, triglycerides and HDL and LDL, and I was kind of proud of my blood work, actually. The LDL, which is the bad one, I was at 68, and they want you to be under 70, so I basically had that beat. HDL was 32, and they wanted to be over 40, so I've changed my diet to try to get that HDL up. Peanuts supposedly do that. Peanuts and beans are the two big things, and I put both of those into, peanuts are my only snack food, and beans are part of dinner most nights. So I've changed that, and we're going to see how those numbers fluctuate from that. We're also going to we're going to see how that changes, and then we'll see how it changes when I get into supplementing, and I think that's something I'm really looking forward to doing, because I think that's where the possibility is for reversing and losing it. I'd like to get off of blood pressure meds. I'd like to get off of metformin. I don't do the insulin. I positively won't shoot anything into myself, but and I'm controlling it, so I don't have any need to. But I'd like to see if I can make the metformin go away too, and that's something that, what I wanted to do with everybody tonight really basically was just let you know that, I do think What the Health is worthwhile, but I think there's more than one side, and more than, it's a quagmire. There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot that I think is unlearned. I think there's a lot that, science hasn't figured out yet, and I think that's where the supplements, they talk about superfoods. They're onto some things that are not something you're going to find in your backyard that are making a huge difference for people. And I want to see if they do that for me, and see if I can help some of my friends with that too. So we're going to keep working on all of that, and keep trying to come to you every Wednesday night and have something worth you listening to. Again, I'll say that What the Health you should take a look at, and the YouTube video, Dr. Mike, that I posted is a great counterpoint to that. I think he makes some very rational points that you might want to look at too, and just let's go on the journey. Let's figure it out. There's a way, and I know that one of the things that he says in the video, as a doctor, people come in the office and he can tell them. Well, you need to change your lifestyle. You need to quit smoking. You need you need to exercise. You need to change your diet. And he says that 10% of the people will do that. and have success, but 90% of the people won't do that. So, that's again to look at the nutrition and the supplement idea. Hopefully that's something that maybe 90% of the people will get, 100% of the people will get value from. So we're going to keep digging and see where it all goes. And like I said, I'll do a Wednesday night Wellness Wednesday for you, and keep you up on my progress with it and let you know how it's all working out. I really appreciate everybody coming by, and if you do get a chance to watch that What the Health and the YouTube, PM me. Let me know what you think. I'd be really curious to hear. Thank you all for stopping by, and we'll look for you next week on Wellness Wednesday number 3. Have a great week.